tell us about the French publisher and the fourth book.
Oh.
And yeah.
Yeah, so Eveline Siazinski, she's my French translator, and she organizes institutes for me in France. And we tried this publisher and that, and it turns out that Henri Lemoine, which is is the big music publisher in France, it turns out that they're busy buying up some of the smaller independent publishing houses. So several of the ones we approached, we didn't know, but actually they're owned by Henri Lemoine. So if Henri Lemoine is not going to publish me, then they aren't either. Mm-hmm. So we needed to find a small house that was still independent. And finally, Eveline, bless her heart, found this Édition de la Tour. And they're down in the south of France somewhere, like halfway between Nice and Carcassonne, in the middle of nowhere, right? And it's a young couple. He's an organist, and so he's a musician. And they have music scores. They have lots of books on music analysis and musicology. And for instance, they've got this book on the Bach, the first 24 Preludes and Fugues, which goes into a detailed analysis not only of structure and form, but content, like emotional character and all sorts of deep understanding of the Bach Preludes and Fugues.
Cool.
And she approached them, and she drove over there. From her place, 3-hour drive, and had a talk with them, and they're very, very positive. They say that these books are exactly what they need for their catalog. Mm-hmm. And so we're publishing Honing the Pianistic Self-Image in French. And that's going to be presented at the Musicorama Book Fair in Paris at the end of April. So nice. in a month's time, I'll be with them in Paris, and we'll be doing a sort of a book promotion.
Cool.
We'll have an author's signing session and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. Yeah.
And next, so the new book, Playing the Piano with the Whole Self, is Eveline's next translation project, and our goal is to have that one published in French by the following book fair. That's April 2018, and we will actually have a complete presentation at that one. Nice. With a master class and demonstration lessons and a speech by me, and so we're very, very happy with Édition de la Tours. It's I'm hoping they might even publish some of my compositions, because they expressed an interest in those, and so it's nice. I mean, it's nice basically because they're a well-known house, and they have good distribution network in France and in the French-speaking world. So it's a way for more pianists to find out about my work. So I'm very happy about it, just because through them more people will be able to benefit from the lessons, from improving their injury issues, from improving their technique, improving their musicianship.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about English edition? I mean, English.
That's under wraps. So we're a major English language publisher. We're in negotiations, but we cannot say anything until the ink has been dried on the dotted line. Okay.
Exactly.
So that one is also a very interesting proposition, and from that might follow also a German language connection. Honing the Pianistic Self-Image is translated. Michael Platt has finished the German translation of Honing, and it's sitting there. It's waiting to be typeset and published. So it will not take much for us to get that second book out in German. So now we will have the second and third books in French, the first and second books in German. Next year, the fourth book in French, and next year, the third book in German. So, meantime, I have started writing my fifth book.
Yes.
And the title of the fifth book is going to be Arm Weight Rehabilitated. if you can believe it. So,
Yeah,
after
that's good.
completely destroying arm weight technique for 4 big books, I had this experience with Kemal last month, and we, there's several lessons where he's told me over the years, you've got to, get the weight of your arm into that, you've got to get the weight of the arm, and I always thought he was speaking euphemistically. And yeah, the piano needs a really solid connection, so it's kind of like when I stiffen up the whole thing and get that body connection going, that's what he's talking about, but it's not really, dropping the arm. Well, what I just did now, you can't see it, but the camera can see it, is when I dropped my arm, I dropped my upper arm and my forearm and my hand and my fingers and everything. Everything dropped. So it's totally dead. This is not it at all. But if you let the upper arm go, and then when the hand starts to fall, and then the thumb does this kind of stand-up motion, it's very, very elastic. But the thing is, if you let the upper arm drop completely,
Right.
That thumb stand up, that thumb launch is forced to gain a further dimension of elasticity and connection. And somehow, if you don't let the upper arm go completely, then there remains some slight disalignment. And when you let it go completely and then increase the elan of the finger elasticity, the finger launch or the thumb launch, then at a certain magic point, all the alignments disappear. And then the everything moves much better. Like it's not just a little better, it's another domain of misalignment-free movement.
Yeah, I just watched this recently. You were having a lesson in London with Adrian.
Yeah.
And you were talking about making him play with a salon and an elastic.
It was the Chopin, the E flat major nocturne, Opus 50. Yeah, and he got it, and like he plays extremely well. And when we added this component to his technical arsenal, the sound of the singing line just got so rich and so flexible, so supple and so rich in its vocal inflection. It was like the freedom of the human voice and the freedom of the arm, they go right together. And if you don't let the arm drop, then you'll never get that freedom. But of course, if you let the arm drop, but it's extremely sophisticated technique. If you let it drop and there's any inertia anywhere in the system, then it's screwy. It's just this thump, horrible. Yeah?
Yep.
So the thing people don't understand is, yes, let the arm drop, but it's then it's the opportunity to activate everything. And we're always too much on the activation side or too much on the drop side. And it's this symbiosis of these two antithetical functions that marry. And then wham, it's the piano's roaring, singing, sighing, it's full of color, it's full of everything. And it's as I work with it, because I'm developing this on my own, and the other way in which it's dangerous is that I'm getting twinges of almost like pain in the forearm tendons. I get twinges sometimes of the triceps tendon. So if you overdo it, then you're going to hurt yourself. So you have to really know how to use your whole mechanism well in order to put this certain higher strain on the tendons, but not actually
overdo it,
damage them. So I'm building up my own strength and my own endurance or whatever, very gradually. Elasticity, yeah. So it's extremely finicky in its own way, but it's completely free. So it's this world of contradiction that you have to enter, but when you get it, it's just, oh my God, that it's singing. It can't be any better. My neighbors hate me because now the piano is just like completely vibrating. Even I've damped the piano down. I put a piece of board on the underside of the piano to turn it into,
right.
And like still they
still do it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But you live in a big apartment building, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, the sound goes through the radiators, so that even if I put a floor underneath, it would not stop it because it's actually the people. I'm on the fourth floor. The people on the second floor do it. It's not even the people underneath me. It's way down. Yeah. So
I know.
so that's a little bit of. It's very very exciting. So the fifth book, the bulk of the book will be that. Like I'm investigating it. I'm writing. It's difficult to write about, but I'm doing my best. And the intro to that will be chapters on the Taubman rotation, which is another. This book is going to be all about the vindication of things that I spat all over, because it's the Taubman rotation. Last summer, it was this enlightenment moment where I saw.
Oh yeah,
oh my
with
God.
the lady, yeah.
It's oh my God, there's actually, it actually brings you to this state of unstable equilibrium. It actually brings you to proper alignment. So that's one way to get there. Then this Seymour Fink, uncurl the claw. There's a lesson that I will write on that. I mean, I've taught it to many people, but I use this uncurl the claw in Oliver's last, or either the third or fourth of Oliver's dystonia lessons.
Okay.
And that was a major opening for him. Because now he's uncurling his fingers, he's extending his fingers to move the key. It's totally counterintuitive. How could you straighten your finger to move a piano key? That's insane. But Seymour Fink writes about it in his book, and if you look carefully, many times we're actually doing it and we don't realize it. And if you do it consciously, then of course the dystonia is a chronic flexion. Well, if you're extending your finger, there's no chronic flexion. And so all of a sudden he's moving the keys vigorously. Because at first we did it very slowly, and with no effort hardly. But in the last lesson we made it very vigorous. And now
we'll publish that.
And so you see, so the Seymour, so the Dorothy Taubman rotation, the Seymour Fink uncurl the claw. And it's actually, it's a way of achieving unstable equilibrium on the forward-backwards plane. Dorothy Taubman, achieving unstable equilibrium on the lateral plane. Kemal's version of arm weight, achieving unstable equilibrium on the vertical plane. So we've got the three cardinal directions of movement covered in piano technique in this book. So I might even change the title from, I was thinking arm weight rehabilitated or arm weight vindicated, but I might change it now that we're talking to the three cardinal directions of movement in the hand at the piano, which is too long for a title, but something like that.
I don't know if people would understand it.
I don't care. Honing the pianistic self-image is a completely Feldenkrais title. I titled that book so that Feldenkrais practitioners would drool over it. Oh my God, the self-image, because Moshe Feldenkrais talks about the self-image all the time, and all his work is improving the self-image. If the sensory kinesthetic self-image is improved, then the brain will move you better. If your self-image is of your spine is like this stick that doesn't move, then you won't move well. If your self-image of your spine is this flexible, movable stack of vertebrae, then you will move with flexibility and capability. So the self-image is central to Feldenkrais. So my book, Honing the Pianistic Self-Image, that's like designed to make Feldenkrais practitioners salivate and to make everybody else start thinking about this. The fourth book, the subtitle is Transforming this Pianistic Self-Image. Don't just hone it, but transform it. And so the three cardinal directions of movement is another basic Feldenkrais concept. Which it may be worth. I mean, I'm not sold on this. I just thought it up now as I'm talking to you. But I'm not. So I'm thinking, why not present this concept to the public in a way that gets them thinking about it. Charles Ashbrenner, his pulse patterning, that's all about the three cardinal directions of movement at the piano, and it's actually that would be the fourth segment of this fifth book. I did a really nice chapter on pulse patterning in the fourth book, but the logic of this fifth book would be lateral unstable equilibrium, Dorothy Taubman. forward and back unstable equilibrium, Seymour Fink. Vertical unstable equilibrium, Camel's version of arm weight. Then, the three cardinal directions of movements integrated into what you're doing at the piano, Charles Ashbrenner pulse patterning. So
Nice.
there's the structure of the fifth book.